As a fan of My Hero Academia, My Hero Academia Vigilantes was on my radar even before the anime aired. While I'm anime only for My Hero Academia, I had heard about Vigilantes and I knew it would be on my watch list even though I didn't know much about it. What I didn't expect was how much I was going to love Vigilantes, so much so that it instantly climbed the top of my favorite anime of 2025. My Hero Academia Vigilante explores the hero world in a different light. What happens to those with quirks who don't go on to become pro heroes but still want to make a difference some way? What if they aren't working with law enforcement and are actually trying to avoid getting caught up with them? Vigilantes explores the line between doing what's right and doing what's legal. On its own, Vigilantes is a great exploration of a world that we are already familiar with, but from a different perspective. Not only is it told from the perspective of vigilantes, those who may or may not be doing what's right, but it's also told from the perspective of adults. Whether it's Koichi, a new adult on his own, or Knuckle Duster, a rogue vigilante with hidden motives, Vigilantes showcases that stories do not just need to be coming of age stories in order to be meaningful and impactful. The transition from childhood to adulthood isn't the only point in which we can transform ourselves and our lives. At any point in time or any point in our lives, we can decide to change course, chase a dream, accomplish a goal, and completely transform ourselves. Welcome back to The Wonder of Anime. I'm your host, Lisa, and this week I want to talk about My Hero Academia Vigilantes, the chokehold that it had me in, and the stories of adulthood that it displays. My Hero Academia Vigilantes is a spin-off of the series born from Tetsuya Sato, an editor of My Hero Academia. It was written by Hideyuki Furuhashi with art by BETTEN. While My Hero Academia follows Deku, a quirkless teenager's journey to becoming the #1 hero, Vigilantes follows Koichi, a college-age student who moonlights as a vigilante doing nice things for people using his weird quirk. He connects with Knuckle Duster, an older man who is quirkless but fighting crime, and Popstep, a high school girl with idle dreams. It goes without saying Koichi is one of my favorite characters of Vigilantes. Like many kids his age, he grew up idolizing All Might, and even though his own power seems useless, he still finds ways to use it on his own terms to make a difference. At first, he's hesitant to join Knuckle Duster on these vigilante escapades, but soon it becomes something that he does with pride, and he works hard to improve himself. Koichi has become one of my favorite recent depictions of a young adulthood in anime because it is all too relatable. At his age, most people start doing adult things, going to college, which is the first time you're living on your own, often taking care of yourself for the first time, getting a job, and trying to manage work, school life, and social life. As the season goes on, we see Koichi's childhood naivety clash with his newfound maturity. He's not that much older than Popstep, but we do see him step into older peer role with her. With Makoto and his peers at school, he's stuck trying to impress them, but often failing at that. Later on in the series, when Koichi's mom visits him, he's trying really hard to convince her that he has it all together. He lies and says he has this really cool girlfriend, which is Makoto, and he wants to make sure his mom sees him in a good light so she doesn't make him go home. The audience is able to immediately see how much of an impact his mom trying to take care of him has had on him as a person. We even learned that he potentially could have been flying, but his mom was so scared and so worried that she snuffed that out of him. And that's an important conversation that maybe I'll have in another video. But we're able to see that even though his mom has helped him back for his own safety, he's starting to be able to stand up to her and prove to her that he is older and capable now. Koichi isn't perfect and he isn't the ideal hero, but he's honest and he's willing to try. While he grapples with the in-between phases of adulthood, he's also grappling with his world in the heroescape and how he can contribute to it on his own terms. Koichi is a perfect depiction of someone who is legally an adult, but they still have a lot of growing and maturing to do. On the other side of the adulthood spectrum, we have Knuckle Duster. At the beginning of the series, we don't know much about him. We just know he is this older man who is a vigilante, and we don't know what his motivations or what is behind his hero work. While he takes Koichi under his wing for training and subsequently pop step, we don't learn until much later that these actions are self-motivated. He seems like the typical sensei character in an anime, but he really has his own goals that he's trying to accomplish. At the end of the season, through Knuckle Duster's fight with the B-Quirk user, we learned that she is his daughter, and his controlling nature over her, trying to control her doing music, is what led her to being taken over by the B-Quirk user. Knuckle Duster is trying to atone for the mistakes he made in the past with his daughter through his vigilante work. He doesn't seem to really care about villain issues, and he just knows that his daughter is at the root of it, and he's gonna stop at nothing to save her. Knuckle Duster's story as a father and husband is an important one to this series. As parents, we do what we can to protect our children. We want to guide them, but we often fall short because we're thinking of their future and what's best for them, but we're forgetting to look at them in their present and what they need in the moment. In Knuckle Duster's flashbacks, we can see that he is a hardworking man trying to make sure his daughter stays on the right path, but because he's being so strict with her, he's actually pushing her on to the bad path. In their final battle, Knuckle Duster makes it clear to the B-Quirk user that he has been reflecting on his relationship with his daughter. He acknowledges that she belongs on a stage, she needs to be doing music, and that really she should be doing whatever it is that she wanted. And he may not have supported that in the past, but from now on, he fully has her back and is supportive of her chasing her dreams. In Knuckle Duster's portrayal, we are witness to the fact that even adults can change. They can take responsibility for any hurt that they've caused in the past, and they can also work to make sure they are atoning for that and change their ways. As someone who is quirkless, Knuckle Duster could have sat back and just mourned the loss of his daughter, but instead he took actions to not only get her back from the B-Quirk user, but to make amends in their relationship. He reflected on his shortcomings as a father, and he did the work to repair the relationship. Both Koichi's and Knuckle Duster's stories in season 1 work to show how complicated adulthood is. You don't always have it figured out, you don't always have the answers, but you do know that you must go on. They also highlight that transformational moments don't just occur when you're a teen. They can come at any time in your life. You can always learn new things, and you can always change your ways. My Hero Vigilante takes an already thought-provoking and complicated story and ups the ante by having it star adults. They're in the same world, but they're fighting different battles internally and externally. Vigilantes does the often impossible, which is make a spin-off just as good as the original story. It proves that you can add on to an existing world without being cheap and in a way that is thoughtful. It also proves that adults are worthy of great transformational storytelling too. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this exploration of adulthood in My Hero Academia Vigilantes. If you watch this season, if you're familiar with the story, let me know your thoughts on season 1, anime only, specifically in the comments. Thank you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.